It's not your bed, no.
No, I don't sleep in a bunk bed.
You don't sleep in a bunk bed, no.
I've grown up from that.
How is life?
Good. Obviously, as you know, sitting in my daughter's bedroom as an office. Obviously the world's changed quite a bit over the last 2 months. But good. We're trying to keep things as normal as possible. Things like Team and Zoom's been a bit of a saviour for us for internally doing meetings.
Yeah.
And they're doing introductions and planning meetings, etc., with the clients. So yeah, things are good.
Plugging away. I almost believe you there, David. I almost believe it. I believe it.
Yeah.
So you your story is you're MD of NSPS.
Yes. Yeah.
And that was your first MD role, right?
It is. Yeah. Yep.
And when did you start doing it?
I started back at the beginning of November last year, 2019. I know of NSPS, have done for a good few years. Dealt with the engineers before for various services from a previous job. So when I was approached to come across as MD, it wasn't a shock. I knew who the company were, I knew where they'd come from, and I could maybe see where they could go to next, which was part of the Valor guys' plan. They had a plan to take the company and tweak some things, but still keep what's at the core of the business, the good services that we deliver.
Totally. So I'm intrigued as to how you get your first MD gig in November. You come into a company that needs a wee bit of focus. There are some opportunities for change and developing. You're kicking off all of that, getting it all going, getting the team sorted. And I know you're very much into culture, which we can go back onto again. And then suddenly we're hit with this, which none of us could see coming, right?
No. I mean, if somebody told you 12 months ago that you'd be spending 9 to 10, 12 weeks, whatever it is, stuck in your bedroom, I wouldn't have believed them.
No.
So yeah, but it allowed from November when I started with the team, getting integrated within the Valor guys as well within the group. It allowed us to have a spell between the beginning of November up to about Christmas time, where we're all focusing on trying to get work and keep the customers happy, which is all the good bits.
Yeah.
But in the background, I think what was core, what was important to myself and the team after talking to them when we first started, was everybody maybe wanted to take a bit of a step back, rather than just constantly looking forward. What's next? Maybe we needed to stop and look back and just look at what was important to the business, and that was the staff, the colleagues.
Right.
And take it from there. That's where it really kicked off.
So so taking that step back, if we just unpack that a wee bit, what did taking a step back and maybe a bit of self-reflection mean for you, mean for the team, and what changed?
Yeah, just allowing me to, obviously, with every new job, it takes a little bit of time to get integrated into the team, get to know everyone as a person, and a colleague, start to understand what ongoing operations and that we've got going on, and then just allowing people to have a voice. Not just coming in and going, right, we're going to change all these things and I've got this great plan. We've all worked for that kind of people before. I just wanted to take a step back and just let people have a voice. What do you think as staff? And then you could start to see that people actually had an aspire to become maybe a manager at some point, or take a skill that they maybe already have and advance it, or pick up a new skill. Some of that training has been put a little bit on hold because of the current situation, but it's still very much a plan going forward. And I think the clients have liked that the staff have had a voice. The staff have been attending meetings. The project type engineers that we've got, they've been attending meetings very much from whether it's an introduction stage or a project stage and going all the way through. It's been good.
So that major sort of cultural change for the organisation, I mean, how long had the organisation been around before?
It was formed in 2012.
2012. So they've been working in a kind of, get the next project, crack on. It's all about delivery, getting it done. So you come in, you change the culture quite considerably, saying, your guys, your opinions, the way you want to drive this, your opinion counts. Was that an easy shift, or did it take a bit of time to get the trust angle going?
No, you could certainly tell once you started talking to the guys, whether it was in a group or just at conversations and individuals, you could tell that people were a little bit reluctantly, and then it was like, come on, just speak about it. What do you think we should be doing differently? And there's some people who have really, stood up and became, leaders, if you like. They're empowered to have their own voice, run their own project, and not be micromanaged. And I think the client then, as far as I can see, and hopefully the client then picks up on that. It's not people just being given orders and that's what you're going to do. There's people coming in advising the client, this is what you should maybe be doing, this is maybe what you should be considering. I have thought of this, not the company, me as an individual, So it's, I would say it's certainly working. We've got a really good team. The team certainly responded to this ongoing situation.
Yeah.
We've even had people who've been able to get to travel abroad to do some projects. Obviously, there's been certain measures put in place to make sure everybody's safe, but ultimately everybody's working together, make sure that we're keeping busy and safe.
I'm often intrigued by how many people are there out there that are in boxes that have never had a chance to speak, that have got superstar potential or a brilliant idea. Who are the sort of forgotten heroes that are just locked into just come in, do what you're told to do, and clock out at the end of the night. Who's out there? It's incredible, right? It's incredible once you lift the lid. Do you think those changes that you guys put in place set you up to be better prepared for this? If you went back in time and that organisation existed the way it was, do you think it'd be in as good a place today to being able to deal with this situation with the pandemic? And
probably no. I mean, we even had a new member of staff started on the Monday, and then on the Wednesday, that was us starting to work from home, like maybe 9 weeks ago. So, we only really got to meet this guy a couple of times for BDM, Stuart Henderson. But I think because, it's quite a close team, and with Teams and Zoom and all that, and everybody's been allowed to speak, having a morning get together, having chats during the day, but at the same time, everybody's pretty much left to run with their own project. And it certainly, I would say, has allowed us to be in a strong place for this situation. Obviously, nobody knew it was going to come, but we're quite sure that when this situation ends, when we're back to normal, when we're all back together in the office, I'm pretty sure, we were all saying this the other day, we're going to be a stronger team than we were before.
Wow.
The lockdown.
And there's not a lot of companies can say that right now. There's not a lot of people that are. I'm hearing from people that they've been on furlough and they've just been ignored. There's no weekly call. There's no check-in from the manager. So hopefully those people will get back to work. But if they come back to work, one guy was saying the other day, I'll always remember the way I was treated. Do I really want to work there? So you're actually saying, as a young MD in your first MD role, working with a team, getting all the value out of the team, giving them a voice has put you in a stronger place. And through this COVID drama, you might actually come out of it a stronger group.
Yeah, I mean, the furlough scheme, everybody's had to take advantage of certain cost-saving measures.
Yeah.
I think I said to you the other week that, like, at the end of March, we were like, April's going to be a disaster. There's all these jobs are moving to the right. We didn't know when, whether it was May, August, Christmas time. But we stayed close with the clients. We set up some weekly calls with the clients so we could, not harassing them, but, just keeping in touch with them. What's changing with your end client, whether it's an operator or whoever it is. And all of a sudden, maybe 8, 9 out of 10 projects started going ahead. Once the kind of everything dropped off and then it sort of picked up again. And April's actually been quite a good month, if you were to look at the numbers.
Yeah.
Which was a great morale booster, from predicting a bad month to being actually quite a good month. And it's allowed, like going back to a new sales guy and that, it's allowed him to take time to do introductions. Okay, they're not face-to-face. And when we get back to being able to do face-to-face introductions, that first introduction is already out of the way.
Yeah. So you can hit the deck running.
Yeah.
So you're in the electrical space, right? You're electrical engineers, and just walk us through the areas that you focus on as a company, because I think when you came in there was like a 50-page menu of services, right?
Yeah, there was a long list, and I mean, every company does offer a long list of services. But I think if you're people are going to fall asleep if they start reading this brochure and it says we do this. So it basically narrowed it down into a sort of shorter list, which one would allow us to focus time and money on where do we train our guys.
Yep.
And then the client could then quickly see, right, these guys have got some core services. Okay, everybody knows that electrical engineering, hazardous area electrical engineering, that's quite a broad statement. Even condition monitoring, it's a bit of a broad statement.
Yeah.
But the kind of key ones that we're mainly focused on is HV right down to LV switchgear.
Right.
So whether it's maintenance, setting up, secondary current injection, even doing like FETs on new circuit breakers have been installed. We got up to 33 kV,
wow.
So 33,000 volts for maybe some people might say it that way. Jointing and terminations for up to 33 volts. We can even be like senior appointed person who SAPs for on site and take control of the high voltage compound area. We also offer a service that a lot of people offer is partial discharge, PD.
Right.
But we've got an exclusive agreement with HVPD, so high voltage partial discharge. The guys based down in Manchester. And that's been a great partnership so far. They design the products, they do their own R&D and testing. And then we're hoping that we're having results for it so far, that in the oil and gas sector, renewable sector of this part of the world, Aberdeen area, we would be the ones that would deliver the service with our guys, boots on the ground. So condition monitoring, hazardous engineering, electrical engineering, as we say, they're broad statements. We've got rope access engineers right up to level 3, for doing mechanical work, doing various things like installing cameras. They're all electrical guys. They do like your EX inspections. Got guys who are installing cameras like on crane pedestals. And we also specialise in, it's a bit of a niche thing, fibre optics. So we've got a machine that can splice, cut and join the fibre optic cable together.
Very good, very good.
And then going back to your comment about people having a voice and things come from people having a voice, there's been various discussions around not just as NSPS as a company, but Valor as a group. Where do we want to sit? The oil and gas industry, I hate the term, but it's kind of true, is kind of going to become one day the coal industry. Things are going to change. So, do you send all your money going into renewables? Do you spend your money going into something else? You have to broaden your horizon. I mean, all the big ones have done it as well. So coming from this voice and some people having ideas, there was an idea of like stored energy products from batteries. A little bit like a UPS type system, where UPS is maybe more of a short-term gap, maybe an hour or maybe 10 minutes, whatever. But a battery product that not only would be zero noise, zero emissions, a hell of a lot less maintenance from maybe a rotating diesel engine, and you could run the 12 hours, 18 hours off of this stored energy product. And it would massively help even like oil and gas operators reduce their carbon footprint. So that's an R&D project that we're working on.
That came from one of your guys once you opened up the culture a bit.
Just there's an engineering forum sort of team was set up within the Valor group. So Cavitas, ASIS, Valor, AIM Valor, and ourselves, a couple of the kind of engineer guys all got together, physically got together when you were allowed to do that.
Yes. Just making that clear.
Yeah. Not in the last few weeks. And then shooting ideas around. I'm struggling with this. I'm struggling with that. And then everybody knows different people in Aberdeen. And then all of a sudden, this idea came that what if we were to design our own product that was in a container, stored energy, in a North sort of DNV type container, and it could even go offshore.
Wow.
So we've engaged with a couple of major operators. They're certainly very much up to being like test guinea pigs, if you like.
Yeah.
They're going to give us the feedback on, watch out for various things, watch out for your footprint, the size, type of things they would like, so that they can have an input into the product. Because if we then turn up with a finished product, they might say, oh, it's a bit big, a bit heavy, it's not quite what we wanted. And we've also had some independent bodies involved, like OGTC, and some governing bodies as well. Some battery governing bodies are involved as independents that have an input. So that's been something that's come from people having a voice.
That may never have come out
that may never have come out. People have maybe just have thought of it, but might not have
and just
said
carried
it
on doing what they do. So considering all that you do, that you've just been through, which is you do quite complex, interesting work, which is interesting in itself. How have you found the supply chain and getting the kit that you need since we went into lockdown and the sort of transport arrangements were affected? How have you found that?
Yeah, there's been some suppliers. Most of the suppliers have actually been very responsive. Okay, maybe the guys are at home or furloughed or whatever, but they've still been able to deliver the product. But there has been some times where, the end client, we've had to let them know that there's actually going to be not the normal 7-day delivery. It might be 10 days or what have you. Because understandably, some companies are pretty much shut down or running on a skeleton staff. And obviously our guys aren't in the warehouse, they're not in the office. So we've got a kind of list on the door, if you turn up with a package, please phone these numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And a couple of the colleagues have been quite good that live close by and they've popped round, pick up. But trying it where we can to minimise any delays. But I think people understand because everybody's in the same situation, yeah.
So you're plugging on, you're keeping the strong team together and trying to keep a hold of all of this, trying to keep the marketing side going, projects, all the kit that you need. So what would you say as MD of a service company, what would you say is your biggest focus today and these days?
Is this before COVID or just in general?
Right now. So forget pre-COVID. So what is taking up the majority of your time these days?
I'd say at the moment, because we took a little bit of a step back, refocused on our core products, it's then allowed us to think, right, what if we were to become, providers of a service in a different market sector? Are we actually ready? Where guys have all got their offshore Boziet tickets and we're all fit and ready to go offshore, oil and gas type offshore. What if we were to step into a new market? Do the guys have the correct certificates and training, etc.? So we've been looking at things like fit for renewables, because there is an old one that I didn't actually hear about until just a few weeks ago, was fit for nuclear, making sure you had the correct training, etc.
Sure.
So we're going down the route of the fit for renewables.
Right.
Making sure we're ready for it. I mean, the guys have the core skill, electrical skills, etc., but that doesn't mean they can actually go out to the wind turbine offshore.
Yeah.
So making sure we're set up so when we get the job, when the client picks up the phone, yes, we've got a guy and we can be deployed. Because there's nothing worse than getting an opportunity and you say, oh, we can't do it.
I know.
Because we're actually not quite there. So that's been a big focus lately. I suppose we've been focusing it out with the UK as well. We've had quite a large amount of quotes we've been tendered for in Abu Dhabi for one of the major operators over there, and in Qatar, and not just oil and gas work. A lot of the onshore utility power providers. There's a project kicking off probably the tail end of this summer for a 5-year project. So that's been a good one as well. And that just was, let's get on a plane. This was back at the end of the year last year.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go and meet some guys. They have some services that may be short of. We can help fill that gaps and help complement them as an independent third party. We over met them, tender for some work, and that work ended up getting binned. Not just the job got cancelled. However, another opportunity came up that was onshore type work. So that's been a big focus for us. And I suppose just making sure that when we come out the other side of this, like we said earlier, a stronger team. We've expanded on the team since I started. There's been 2 individuals been added. There's been a bit of a shuffle around with a couple of guys who've got a slightly different role.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them was actually a role that they came forward and said, look, I want to be the electrical TA, technical authority. It was something that was on a plan a little bit further down the line. And it was like, you know what? Let's do this. You are that kind of person that fits the electrical TA role, taking control of policies, procedures, and also helping build a training matrix, which fed into the PDP, personal development plan.
Sure.
So what skills have you got? What skills do you want to add to? And then we can look at it and go, right, well, this is the way we want things to sort of develop. So that's probably the 3 main areas.
Very good.
We're kind of focusing on, yeah.
I always get there's a theme that comes whenever I speak to anybody that's part of Valor Group and the associated companies, that I speak to a lot of people in different industries, and I see a lot of very tense faces and a lot of concern and worry. But you guys seem to be slightly different. There's something about you. There's something. It's not that you're sort of idly and wildly thinking everything will be okay, but you're very positive and you're very driven and focused. You guys, is that something that I'm guessing it's what the Valor guys wanted to put together, was this kind of feeling and culture that we can take on the world.
Yeah, what we do is we start off every day. We fill the glass up. Now this may look like it's water.
Yes, it's not.
It's some other liquid, and that's why there's a glow about the face and a smile.
No, but there is, and I mean that genuinely. I didn't mean that in a sort of sickening way.
No,
there is something about you guys. You're quite driven. You're quite positive about the future, looking to diversify. You're pivoting all the time, pivoting and changing, looking at new industries, looking at new stuff, working differently with teams and all of that. So I'm guessing that comes a bit from you, but it's probably influenced by what Valor's goals are, right?
Yeah, I mean the Valor guys being the top co. I mean, they're not hundreds of employees. They're not this massive organisation. They're a smaller team. There's sort of key figures there, CEO, and then obviously other guys sitting beside him. There's no micromanagement going on. We discuss. We have a constructive meeting once a week with each department. Everybody's got a voice, whether it's like an ops manager, any HR things that are going on, new recruitment, and that's certainly being passed down, because if everything's kind of filters, if the CEO has this mentality of micromanaging and giving everybody a hard time, then you're going to unfortunately then pass that on, and everybody's going to pick up on that vibe. So yeah, everybody's got a voice. There's no micromanagement. There certainly is a network of guys there, where it's a quality health and safety manager. They are there to help us, get like our Lloyd's Register certificates we've got at the end of the year, the marketing director, the financial guy, whatever you think you're needing a little bit of support on, there's somebody at the end of the phone to support.
Very good.
And I certainly do pick that up myself within the Valor Group. It's a company within an organisation. We're not Wood Group. We're not. We're not Acker Solutions. We're not that size of an organisation. There's no disrespect to the bigger ones.
You've said it now.
I've said it now. Sorry. I can't take it back. You'll need to edit that part out, Eric.
No.
But I think the fact that we're small to medium sized company, it's allowing us to be pivotal, but still engaging with people like Bob Keeler, who you had on the other week. Tapping into these guys to say, look, what could we do differently, and taking bits from that and saying, right, what, we're going to try some of these things out. So yeah.
Very good. Listen, we appreciate everything you're doing. Let's check in with you after all this is done and see where you're at. But I think the story's great, and I think it's inspirational. I think we need a good news story at the moment. Love what you're doing with your team and culture and all of that, and changing that for the better to encourage innovation and client response and project delivery. I think it's a great story. Superb.
Yeah.
Well done to you, David.
Good. Well done to the team. It's a team.
Yeah, well done to all of you.
Yeah,
fantastic. Right, we will catch up with you soon. Thank you very much for your time.
No problem, Eric. Thanks very much for your time.
See you soon. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.